Tan's heart pounded as the worm continued its slow, creeping journey. It moved with a determination that made Tan's skin crawl. He tried to scream, but fear had taken away his voice. The worm had already reached his stomach and was making its way further inside him. Tan felt a strange mix of pain and numbness as the creature slid along. The room was silent except for Tan's shallow breaths and the soft, eerie slithering of the worm. Every moment seemed to stretch out as Tan's eyes widened in terror. He remembered how Ada had trusted the kind Dr. Musa, and he wished he had listened more closely to the doctor's words. Now, as the worm reached his mouth, Tan felt a cold, slimy touch that sent shivers down his spine. The creature moved silently, as if it were an unseen force that could not be stopped by screams or struggles. Inside Tan, the sensation was hard to describe. It was not just pain, but also a feeling of being invaded by something that did not belong. Tan's hands trembled as he tried to push the worm away, but his body did not obey him. Instead, he felt as if the creature was softly pressing into him, taking over his space. In that quiet room, filled only with soft noises and quiet fear, Tan knew that something very bad was happening. Time seemed to slow down even more as the worm's journey continued. Tan's eyes closed tightly, and his mind filled with thoughts of his family, his friends, and the peaceful days before this terrible incident. He wished he could go back to the time when life was simple and safe, far away from the silent invasion that was now a part of him. The invasion was slow and steady, and Tan's heart whispered a silent prayer for help. Days passed after that awful night, and Tan began to feel strange changes inside him. At first, he tried to act as if nothing had happened, but the feeling was growing stronger every day. Tan noticed that his stomach hurt all the time, and he felt very tired even after a good night's sleep. He also felt a constant hunger, one that no amount of food could satisfy. It was as if something inside him was taking control. Every morning, Tan would wake up with a heavy heart and a deep worry about the strange feeling in his body. His parents noticed that he was not his usual happy, playful self anymore. They watched him closely as he moved slowly around the house, his eyes sometimes looking far away as if he were thinking about something very difficult. Friends who once played with him now stayed away because they sensed something was wrong. Tan felt lonely and scared. He remembered the warnings that Dr. Musa had given, but now it was too late. The worm that had invaded him was changing him from the inside. Tan felt a pull, a strong, strange force that made him act differently. When he tried to eat his favorite foods, he found that nothing satisfied the hunger inside him. Instead, his body began to tremble, and he would sometimes drop to the ground, feeling weak and dizzy. At school, Tan's teachers noticed that he was not paying attention in class. His once bright eyes now seemed dull, and he was often silent. His friends whispered about the changes, and soon everyone in the neighborhood began to worry. The gentle Tan was becoming a shadow of his old self, and the mysterious worm that had entered his body seemed to be growing stronger with each passing day. His world was filled with a quiet sorrow and a fear of what might happen next. As the days turned into weeks, Tan's hunger grew bigger and stronger. No matter how much food he ate, he never felt full. His stomach grumbled loudly, and he felt a strange emptiness that could not be filled. Each morning, Tan would wake up with the same hungry feeling, as if a big shadow was following him everywhere. He tried to eat his favorite dishes, jollof rice, pounded yam, and spicy soup, but even this could not ease his hunger. The hunger was not like a normal tummy ache, it felt deeper, as if something inside him was always demanding more. Tan's parents worried about him. They prepared meals with extra care, hoping to satisfy his unusual appetite, but the hunger never went away. Soon, even the delicious smells of food from the busy market in Lagos could not bring a smile to his face. Tan began to feel weak and tired all the time. He walked slowly and often sat down on the steps outside his house, staring into the distance. His friends noticed that he was no longer the cheerful boy they used to play with. The hunger seemed to make him forget about playing and laughing. Instead, he became quiet and serious, always thinking about food. Late at night, when the world was dark and quiet, Tan's thoughts were filled with the hunger inside him. He dreamed of endless feasts, but when he woke up, the emptiness remained. The strange feeling in his belly was getting stronger and even scared him. It was as if the worm inside was growing, taking more control every day. Tan wondered if he would ever feel normal again, or if this strange, unending hunger would stay with him forever. One bright evening, as the sun set over the busy streets of Lagos, Tan visited his neighbor, Mama Chichi. Mama Chichi was known for her warm smile and the delicious meals she always cooked. Tan remembered how, as a child, he would sit on her porch and listen to her stories. Today, however, something was very different. Tan's eyes looked sad and his movements were slow. Mama Chichi greeted him with a kind smile, welcoming him into her small, cozy house. As Tan stepped inside, he noticed the familiar scents of pepper soup and fresh fufu, but his mind was clouded by the strange hunger that had grown inside him. His steps were heavy, and he felt as if an invisible force was guiding him towards something he did not understand. At first, Mama Chichi did not notice anything wrong. She talked to Tan about the weather and the little market outside. But as the evening went on, Tan's strange behavior became clear. His eyes, once full of gentle kindness, now looked dark and distant. Without warning, Tan stepped closer to Mama Chichi, who paused in confusion. Before anyone could stop him, Tan reached out with trembling hands. The hunger inside him took control, and in a moment that was both sad and terrifying, he attacked. Mama Chichi screamed as Tan's strange force overcame his gentle nature. The beautiful evening turned into a scene of shock and sorrow. Neighbors later whispered about what had happened, unable to understand how such a caring man could be changed so much by the mysterious hunger. The moment was brief but painful. Mama Chichi's kind voice was silenced, and Tan stood there, overwhelmed by regret and the overpowering hunger that had taken over his heart. It was a heartbreaking moment that made everyone wonder if the curse of the worm could ever be broken. The incident with Mama Chichi sent shock waves through the neighborhood. People whispered in hushed voices about what had happened, and fear slowly spread like a dark cloud over Lagos. Tan, once known for his gentle nature, was now a symbol of something terrible that no one could understand. The mysterious worm inside him was growing stronger each day, and it seemed that the curse was far from over. In the days following the tragic event, Tan's behavior grew even more strange. Neighbors saw him wandering the streets at night, his eyes dark and hollow. It was as if he was looking for something, or someone, to feed the strange hunger that was inside him. The quiet voices of the community told stories of the curse, a cycle that began when the worm took hold of a kind person, slowly turning them into something unrecognizable. Many people were frightened that the curse might spread. Some whispered that if the worm could control one person, it might soon take over others. The community was torn between sadness for what had happened and fear of what might come next. Tan's actions were seen as a sign that the curse was not just a one-time event, it was an endless cycle that could repeat over and over again. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, families locked their doors a little tighter. They worried about the mysterious changes happening among them. Tan, too, was trapped in a cycle he could not escape. Deep inside, he felt sorrow for what he had done, but the strange hunger pushed him forward. The curse, like a dark shadow, loomed over everyone, reminding them that sometimes even the kindest hearts can be overtaken by mysterious forces beyond their control. Word of the strange events in Lagos began to spread to nearby villages. The quiet communities, where everyone knew each other, were now filled with worry. People talked in low, fearful tones about the mysterious curse that had taken hold of Tan and the terrible night when Mama Chichi was hurt. In every home, parents held their children close, warning them about strangers and mysterious creatures. In one small village, the elders gathered under the large baobab tree to discuss what was happening. They remembered stories from long ago, stories of curses and strange creatures that visited their lands. Now, it seemed as if one of those old stories was coming true. The villagers talked about the giant worm, the strange hunger, and the terrible events that had started in Lagos. Everyone felt as if a dark cloud had come to live among them, making the nights longer and the days filled with worry. Children would sit quietly as their parents explained that sometimes mysterious things happen and that not all stories have happy endings. The village elders promised to watch over the community and to find a way to stop the curse. They organized small meetings and asked for advice from wise men who had heard ancient tales. Though they did not have a clear answer, their unity and determination gave some hope. Yet, despite these efforts, the sense of fear continued. Every sound, every shadow in the night made people jump and look over their shoulders. The curse had changed the way the village felt. It was no longer a place of simple, happy life but one where fear and uncertainty reigned. And so, the horror of the curse lingered, a silent threat that no one could ignore. As time went by, the curse of the giant worm became a tale that everyone in the neighborhood and the nearby villages remembered. Parents told their children the story as a warning. Sometimes, in the pursuit of things we think we want, we might end up causing harm to ourselves and those around us. Ada's brave attempt to rid herself of the pain and Tan's tragic fall into the curse became lessons for everyone. People began to understand that some mysteries in life should be treated with great care. The curse taught them that every action has consequences, and sometimes, not listening to wise advice can lead to very sad outcomes. The elders in the villages reminded everyone that self-acceptance and caution were very important. They spoke about how chasing after something that seems too good or too powerful can sometimes lead to unexpected and dangerous results. The community slowly worked together to help those who were affected. They organized gatherings to share stories, lessons, and support. The story of the giant worm was told in simple words so that even the youngest children could learn from it. Always be careful of strange things, parents would say, and never try to force something that nature has made. In the end, the curse of the giant worm left behind a legacy of caution, of understanding that sometimes our bodies and our hearts are better left alone. It reminded everyone that health and happiness are more important than chasing after mysterious dreams. And even though the curse might one day disappear, the lesson would live on forever in every story told and every heart that learned to be a little wiser. For more videos like this one, subscribe to this channel and tell me in the comment section where you have watched this video from. Thank you. In case you didn't watch part 1, check on the last video on this channel. Thank you.